Hello, everybody. If you are listening right now, just understand this is just a little bit of a teaser for this brand new podcast, Chisme and Shadows. I'm going to explain a little bit what this podcast is and what exactly we're going to be talking about here because I have a lot of plans for this podcast and I'm expecting all of them to go. So, to begin with, if you don't speak any Spanish, chisme just basically translates to essentially gossip. Essentially, it's basically just gossip. It's what Hispanics call gossip. The reason I decided chisme was probably the best possible way to describe what we're going to be talking about is because there's just going to be too many topics we're going to be going around. And you know what? In Hispanic communities, when you go around in a group or even with another person and you just start talking about the world or about events that happened or anything like that, we all essentially just call it chisme. We're just, gossiping around. We're gossiping. We're not, it's not an exact one-to-one translation, so it doesn't really mean like, hey, did you hear blah blah blah? No, it's just means more like casual conversation. We are the Chisme and Shadows podcast, and it's going to be another huge part. Another huge part we're going to be talking about in this podcast is it's going to be a lot of dark things, a lot of dark topics, borderline conspiracy, borderline supernatural, borderline true crime. It's gonna get dark because honestly the world is a dark place, and we're gonna get into dark topics and hopefully we'll explain them, we'll talk about them, and just run through my thought process because you know what, I feel like I hold a lot of stuff in my head that I just want to always talk about. One of my favorite things about talking is usually when I'm talking to other people I could sometimes just chat, and I figured if I condense my thoughts, hopefully, into a podcast form, I'm able to express everything that I'm thinking about productively. And maybe other people will find it entertaining in some ways, or not. You're not forced to listen to this. You're not forced to watch this. If you're watching the video format, I appreciate you. But otherwise, this podcast should be available in hopefully Spotify and Apple, as long as I'm able to get those things to work. This is just nothing much more than just a little bit of a taste of what we're expected to kind of get into. And the podcast is probably going to be doing some updates, and we're just going to be changing things around because honestly, I'm still testing things out. Spent several hours trying to get everything working, at least to the point where I really wanted it to. So yeah, and this includes a lot of stuff. There's a lot of production value going into this, to be honest, including a little bit of a theme song you should have heard at the very beginning. That is, for now, our theme song. That is our theme jingle. And now I really, really want to use this time in the podcast to just kind of talk about anything and everything. So I'm always going to suggest that if you are watching this perhaps on YouTube, to leave your suggestions down in the comments about and let me know exactly any topic. We could talk about literally anything. As complicated or as simple as it can be, I do not care. We will talk about it right here, right now. And there is no topic that is too crazy, that is too wild. I've had my own amount of experiences, so I'll weigh in my opinion. Anywho, like I had said, this is nothing much more than just a simple teaser and taste for what this podcast can end up becoming. I'm pretty excited because I'm also planning on having some guests at some point hopefully join me here to talk about just a bunch of nonsense stuff. The world can be a very interesting place. We live in a world that's much bigger than most people even understand. So with that, make sure you guys stay tuned. Podcast episode 1 will be coming out soon, so be ready and stay tuned.